so much, Reverend Forsyth. That acknowledgement and that apology is very important, I can hear, to some of our brothers and sisters here this morning. It is now my enormous honour to invite to the stage the Honourable Nathan Rees, MP, Premier of the New South Wales, who will speak on behalf of the New South Wales Government.
Thank you very much, Linda. Other federal and state parliamentary colleagues, Carroll, Chair of the Alliance for Forgotten Australians, Frank Golding, Vice President, and Steve Quinn of Care Leaders Australia Network, carers and care leaders, friends. Now, firstly, acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we're on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. They say time is the great healer, but nothing in this world is healed by being forgotten, which is why this ceremony is one of remembrance, and even, perhaps, as Joanna said, one of celebration. Celebration of courage, of the power and strength of the human spirit. We are gathered to remember the many thousands of children and young people who suffered neglect, hardship and cruelty while growing up in institutional care in New South Wales. In orphanages, in children's homes, foster homes in the decades leading up to the 1990s. Many of those victims, with all their painful thoughts, with all your troubled memories, have joined us for this ceremony today. I thank you all for doing so. I thank you for your goodwill and your understanding, because this is your ceremony. It's not a ceremony for government officials or politicians. It's yours. It is your suffering we remember today. It is your pain we want to share, and your scars we seek to heal. Now, that process of healing began, officially at least, some 4 years ago. In 2005, a report of a Senate committee inquiry found that from the early 1900s to the 1970s, as many as 500,000 orphans or surrendered Australian children were mistreated by a system charged with their care. Brothers and sisters were separated. Children led lives of neglect and despair. Some pressed into domestic service. Their educational opportunities were destroyed, while many suffered physical, emotional and sexual abuse. Now, that committee's report, Forgotten Australians, estimated that as many as 200,000 children were placed in institutional care in New South Wales alone. The result of family breakdown, poverty, alcohol abuse, mental illness, domestic violence, or the death of parents. Those with little or no experience of such hardship cannot hope to comprehend the scale and depth of the suffering entailed. In the words of the poet William Wordsworth, for many such victims, quote, suffering is permanent, obscure and dark, and shares the nature of infinity, end quote. Some children were removed from their families by the state. Others were placed in care by relatives, including parents who often had no other option. Of course, such tragedies weren't unique to Australia. They were common in many so-called advanced nations. Remember that until the 1970s, there was little state or community support for families in crisis. In Australia, as in many countries, institutional care was one of the few options available for the children of the destitute, the desperate, the deprived. Today, we know better. But we must never forget those lessons of an earlier age. I believe I can say that the New South Wales Government was among the first to respond to the Senate Committee's report. In June 2005, the New South Wales Parliament and the then Minister for Community Services apologised on behalf of the Government for the physical, psychological and social harm caused to children in New South Wales and for the hurt and distress they experienced in the care of the state. Today, ladies and gentlemen, as head of the government, I go further. Minister Burney and I, together with Carroll and Steve Quinn, will shortly unveil a memorial as a lasting tribute to the children who suffered in care in New South Wales. To those many sufferers, and especially those who have joined us today, I say on behalf of the government, I'm sorry for any hurt and distress you suffered in the care of the state. This should never have happened. I'm sorry that some of you were physically, psychologically or sexually abused. This should never have happened. And I'm sorry for any lasting disadvantages you have experienced as a result of your childhood suffering. This should never have happened. I'm sorry that many of you have been unable to return to your families and loved ones. This should never have happened. And I offer this apology also. Also to your families. And I express the hope that by acknowledging the realities of the past, we can begin to heal those wounds, restore those lost families, and repair those broken lives. I begin by saying that for all the sorrows we remember today, this occasion is one for celebrating the human spirit. It's also an occasion for giving thanks. Today we remember and thank those good and honourable carers who offered kindness and solace to the young ones in their care. They are stronger for what you did for them. We thank all those who have written to the government with positive stories of your days in care also. Those stories studied and remembered. We thank especially those who took their caring duties as a sacred trust and helped to build a nation renowned for compassion and generosity and social harmony. We are a stronger nation for those efforts and for your understanding. I want to acknowledge in particular the contribution made to this event by Quinn and Clan, Care Leaders Australia Network, who first put forward the idea for this healing service, and the support of Carroll and Carroll, the Alliance for Forgotten Australians also. May those forgotten Australians be remembered from this day. Let the apology we offer to those innocent children caught up in a system that failed you be engraved forever in Australia's memory. No human organisation or system of government can guarantee a happy life for every child. In every society, regrettably in every system, mistakes will be made, human error and misjudgment will occur because we live in an imperfect world. But in an imperfect world, it is all the more important that we resolve to make amends when things do go wrong. So today, to all care leaders, we offer this public act of reconciliation, this small gesture of compassion and contrition. And in doing so, we ask your forgiveness and pledge that nothing that can be done to prevent a repeat of such suffering for other children will be left undone. That innocent children already hurt by social and family tragedy will not lack the security for our community's care and our community's protection. To the memory of all who suffered in care, we dedicate this day of healing to you. Thank you.
And we really do dedicate this day to you. From the City of Carroll,